Hey, Shalom, giving all praise unto Yahweh Shema Shai, Bashim Kohakodash, double honors unto the apostles of great millstone, and honest brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kohakodash. And it's going to be a relatively quick video going into the MOTB and this particular interview that they had on the Joe Rogan podcast, and whoever posted this 2 weeks ago, so this is not brand new, and it may be even older because it's a repost, so it's not an original post. So without much further ado, let's get into this particular video. I'm not going to play it due to copyright reasons or whatever. They might flag it up on the YouTube, but we're going to speak about the things contained within the video. So within this particular video, there's the mention of the cashless society. Now, throughout the four corners of the world, you're seeing the base interest rates rise of these central banks. And we know from these central banks, we know they were set up in order to control the monetary policies within these countries, because it was one of the JOOs that said it. I don't care who makes the policies. I care about who controls the money. And you see these countries like, was it Lebanon, where Gaddafi ruled? You see countries that have resisted having a central bank. They got bombed, or something terrible happened to them, because via the central bank, they was able to control nations and ultimately amass all the wealth from these nations that they could in order to control them. That's why we see particular countries that are resource rich are heavily indebted to the International Monetary Fund and all of these different countries that we see throughout the four corners of the earth, where with these JOOs control and manipulate the world's affairs via these monetary funds and monetary policies. So with these interest rates going up, we're seeing house prices crash, and we're going into what's known as negative equity, meaning to say you more owe on a piece of property that you have than the property is worth. That's negative equity. And that's not a very good thing. So a lot of people are going to lose their houses, right? How does that link up to the cashless society? Well, the backbone of the so-called developed world is mortgages. And via mortgages and the rehashing of mortgage payments, and what I mean by that is what's known as a security. This is what's traded on stocks. You got what's known as securities, right? So you got a couple of securities that are worth 10 billion, 20 billion. That's based off of the back of someone's ability to be able to pay back their mortgage repayments. Okay, I'm not going to go super deep technical, because I don't know, right? I'm not an economic expert, but I did study the stuff a little while ago. And what you find out is a lot of these stocks that are traded, a lot of these investors that invest, a lot of the money that's made on the stock market and the stock change, and hence the backbone of the economy, is off of the back of pensions and off of the back of mortgage repayments. So when people lose the ability to repay their mortgages because the interest rates have gone up, you're going to get a situation where these banks, these high street banks, are going to start collapsing. So we need a solution to fix all of these problems. Same thing with the food thing. Same thing with the petrol. Petrol's starting to go up again. Okay? Petrol's starting to go up again. We're going to see how they're going to manipulate the markets. See, we're getting back into winter now. If you remember last winter, the petrol prices went up and the energy prices went up, especially out here within the UK. So we're going to see how they're going to manipulate the markets this time around. But certainly the petrol prices are starting to go up again. So we're going to see what they're going to do, right? But we know one thing. We know from the scriptures, from the book of Revelations, the 13th chapter on the 16th verse, they are indeed going to bring about a charagma. And we see these markets crashing, and we see the economy crashing. So we can safely come to the conclusion that that's all going to be linked up, and it's all going to be part of the same big worldwide event. where they're gonna crash these economies and they're gonna give you the CHIP. Okay, they're gonna give you the charagma spoken about within the book of Revelations 13 and 16, like I just mentioned. And we look forward to it. We're not stopping them from doing it. We're not preaching to stop them from doing it. You got guys like this, which this guy's controlled opposition to the upteeth power probably, right? But this is what is controlled opposition. The Richard Bransons of the world. Richard Russell Brand, I forget his name, the comedian that's a YouTube alternative thinker. These guys get given talking points, man. You better believe these guys get given particular talking points, and they also get given how to respond to particular talking points. Okay? That's how they work this gig, man. That's how they work this gig. So you thinking, and you're listening to these individuals thinking that they're coming out here making some type of sense. But the reality of the situation is they're allowed to make they're allowed to make sense of particular things, but they can't come up against particular genders. So they might have Joe to the Rogan come up against the C19 thing, but he might not necessarily come up against the CHIP thing. I'm not saying that's what happened within this particular video. I'm just making that example. I'm just making that example. So a lot of these controlled opposition guys, you're gonna see them come out when their agenda fits the elites, supporting particular movements, supporting particular thoughts, supporting particular agendas, right? But right now, they're out there on a podcast talking about the cashless society, and on the Joe Rogan podcast, they're linking it up to the MOTB. For whatever reason, they could have some of these controlled opposition guys be the crazy guy, like Kyrie Irving. They use that guy to be the crazy guy for a certain amount of time. They might use Joe Rogan to be the crazy guy for a certain amount of time. Okay? It remains to be determined, but what we do know is the cashless society is indeed gonna come, right? They are gonna have the CHIP chipping stations, and a lot of people are gonna submit to the will of these elite banking families and take on that digital oil and bow down before the red Hebrew Edomite. Okay? But we know that the Most High has preserved unto himself, right, a particular number of men that wasn't gonna bow down to the charagma. Okay, so that's the video, man. So this thing is out there, and for whom it is given unto understand, they're gonna understand, but to the masses, they're gonna be led to the slaughter. So with that, I'm gonna say, praise unto Yabashim Asai, Bashim Hakodash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Honest brothers, they be pushing this truth in sincerity. Shalom.